you so much for coming. If you have come a little bit a long distance, and I just appreciate it so much to see all these smiling faces and friendly faces. I'm excited to be back with you this year, and this year I tweaked it just a little bit for curating your story living inside a scrapbook. Last year at my talk was the next to the last time that I saw my dad before he passed. So it's kind of a sad moment thinking that he was here that day. But however, I'm so happy to have my mom here, and three of my four children are here: my aunt, my cousin, sister-in-law, niece. So that's a great turnout. I appreciate it. Fourth son, Will. Sorry, I didn't overlook you there. So last year, this arrived on my doorstep. Last year, right after this, I was packing up, and my dad pulled up to me walking out there, and I said, "Oh, I didn't even know you were still here." He was looking around the antiques, and he's going, "I brought you something, and it's super heavy. Like, there's no way you're going to be able to lift it. So I'm going to have to get someone to load it in your car." And he said, "It's so heavy, you can't drive long distances with it in your car. So it'll just mess up." He was a big worrywart like me, but he said, "It'll mess you up if you try to drive. So go straight home, and I'm going to get somebody to come over and bring it, get it out of your car." And it was this. And he said it was a corn grinder. Someone else in here just said a coffee grinder, but he said it's like something that your grandfather had. So he gave that to me. So, just a few days. He passed like 5 days later. So that is now sitting at my garage, and it will never be moved. But it came from the Highlands Festival, so I thought that was pretty cool. But I wanted to ask you, if you saw this at Target. Well, it's a little messy. I'll explain why later. Would you buy this at Target? Would you buy it at Goodwill? Maybe an antique store or an estate sale? Or would you want to keep it if I told you that it was your grandfather's and he had painstakingly sat around for years maybe? Came off, he was a butcher, and he used these pieces of twine after his job every day, and he sat around and made these balls. Would that interest you to save it?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because I've kept these. My granny kept these. They were actually her uncle's. She kept them for years. We always joked around, like, could there be something inside? Maybe there's like a treasure inside. Cody suggests we get them x-rayed. I don't know if there's anywhere we can do that these days. But my kids, Jackson just said, "Where'd those come from? You guys used to play with these as kids, and they became unraveled." I was so worried they'd unravel. But so I just keep them on my shelf. So that's just an example of something that I would never get rid of. But I know people would if they didn't know the story, perhaps. But I've always been told that story. So why are we throwing away our history? Why do we save thousands of pictures on our phone, but yet we won't save our grandmother's written recipes? Why are antique stores full of family treasures? Come on in. Welcome. When I think about all the things that are in dumpsters or basements or drawers or closets, it just makes me want to cry. And I know a few people, well, there was one person in particular, I don't see her, she was supposed to come, Peggy, our friend Peggy, who threw away a lot of silver trays, like straight to the dumpster. And I just really get upset every time I think about it. But why are we throwing it away? Why don't you save? I was going to open the floor to people who give me some reasons why you don't save things. No room, that's a good reason. One room is no storage. Clutter. Anything else? Tommy.
Children don't want it.
Oh gosh, maybe if they knew the stories though, they would. Oh well. Well, these are some reasons I came up with. What she said, the first one was not enough space. Some people say, well, it doesn't match my decor, so I'm not going to keep that whole thing. They don't know how to display it. They don't have those family stories attached to the item, or they can't envision or think outside the box of what something possibly could become. And we'll go over some of these as we go along. I wanted to just give a little bit of quick background about me, why I got interested in all this. My family just means everything to me. I had all four of my grandparents in my life until I was 35. So that was just such a big blessing. They told me stories years after year of family stories and stories about items in their homes. And they also all were big mild hoarders, and my parents also keep everything. So that really enabled me to do this. I have a family history of collecting. Now I have 4 kids. I hope they'll be interested in some of my things. I hope they won't just trash it. So you hear this today. And I've always just loved stuff. My mom always said, if you had $100 for Christmas, would you rather have one big thing or 100 little things? And I would always choose 100 little things. So I'm kind of a stuff person, but excuse me, starting back with, there's my great-grandmother made a crazy quilt that's in this book that Betsy White wrote here at the, she's with the William King Museum, Great Red Style, and my great-grandmother's crazy quilt is pictured in here that she made in 1890, and we still have that, of course we do, because nobody would ever get rid of anything like that. So I kind of have it in my blood to save things that are unique and that have meaning behind them. Everything that has a meaning, I just feel like I can't toss. And my default is to always save it and figure out later what I can do with it. So that's why I have a passion for it. And we always have family reunions. We've got genealogy for my grandfather had 13 brothers and sisters. I know all of them by name, their birthday, death dates. On my mom's side, we've got a huge family. We have, her great-grandfather had 21 children at least, so we still have family reunions for all these. We just had our 100th block of family reunion last year. So you've got to really kind of keep this kind of stuff up, which does take a little bit of work, but everyone has a story. You just got to listen and, dare I say, care about it a little bit. Some people just kind of let it go in one ear and out the other, but I think if you just listen to the stories, you can learn your own family story and really dig into it and kind of enable you to put your own story together. So why should we save? People say, you don't need that, you've got the memory. Well, they've never met me. They don't know. I mean, at my age, I don't have the memories anymore, but if I have the item, that will trigger the memory. So it's not just having a memory. Sometimes you need the item to trigger the memory. And the items make a house a home. It turns just a blank house into a home. And it also makes me happy to be surrounded by things that belong to my ancestors or things that I found that I loved at an estate sale. I also do a lot of projects, so I'm often called upon in our family to maybe make a slideshow or do something for a family reunion or something. So I save these important things so that later I can use them. Or, for example, a ladies' golf luncheon. I pull out old golf shoes that I've saved, my mom's that are on pool from the 70s, or golf purse or something to display on the table. So I save it for that, and to preserve history for future generations. Or we're all going to be digital if we aren't careful to try to save things. So let's see, next slide. Today's concert ticket is tomorrow's story. And some kids today, they don't even really know about tickets because they don't give you tickets anymore. We just get digital. I'm told you can buy a ticket if you want to have the printed one, which is crazy to me. But this is my scrapbook in case you didn't know what it was. Aptly named when I was in high school, but it's falling apart. But I saved tickets. I'm holding it was. Ticket. I've got I have got an Elvis ticket from the same year that he died. I can't remember. I think it was in high school. We went to see him, yes, in 1977. So I just think it's cool to save things. I don't know how you can really save